There's always sports on my mind, and I'm never disappointed when I've got the NFL to talk about and my man primetime Deion Sanders making news. It's always something to talk about in this political stratosphere that we're living in right now. But guess what else I got to talk about? Chris Brown, the greatest dancer on the planet, the greatest performer on the planet. Somebody says something very sacrilegious when it comes to him in a favorable fashion that I disagree with. I'll explain in a minute. Stephen A. Smith Show in the house. Let's roll. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do at the very least 3 days a week over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Thanks again to all my followers and subscribers. We've now eclipsed 760,000 subscribers over the digital airwaves of YouTube, and obviously we've eclipsed more than 2.5 million downloads over the last couple of months on iHeartRadio. We continue to grow and grow and grow every single day. I can't thank y'all enough, and a special thanks to y'all because y'all were doing this even while I spent most of this summer on vacation. So for the show to continue to grow as much as it has, it could not have happened without y'all's support. I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. Keep the love coming. I'm going to keep on coming. Remember, to continue to like and follow the show, just click the bell in the right-hand corner, and you too shall become the latest member of the Stephen A. Smith Show family. And while you're doing that, make sure to pick up a copy of my New York Times best-selling book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, out in paperback. That's straightshooterbook.com. That's where you can go to get it, straightshooterbook.com. Let's get started with my man, primetime Deion Sanders, head coach of the University of Colorado football team. Sanders recently snubbed a reporter from CBS from asking a question at a recent press conference. He told the reporter, whose name was Eric Christensen, that he wouldn't answer any questions from CBS. If you haven't seen the exchange, here it is.
Next guy.
Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Mile High
Ain't got nothing to do with
Sports
you. It's above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right.
Joe
Ain't got
Rigo, Mile
nothing
High
to do with
Sports.
you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
I'll get to that in a second. But first, while it's still unclear why Deion denied the CBS reporter a chance to ask a question in the eyes of many, it still is worth discussing. Some have speculated it could be that CBS Sports ranked Deion as the second worst coach in the Big 12. However, Philip Dukes, national recruiting analyst and host for On 3, has another theory. Here's what he recently posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, of course.
Deion Sanders ain't upset because somebody ranked him second to last in the Big 12. That's something that he could control because these rankings don't get you into the playoffs. He ain't mad about that. That's his goal. I'll say this. There was a project between the two that one person did their part and was vulnerable enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to share this with you. The other faction, said company, without notice or without saying anything, after all of this time and effort was put into something, basically said, nah, this ain't a good look for us right now. Even though it's a good look for you, it's not a good look for us right now.
Deion responded to Dukes' post with a post of his own on X that seemed to confirm what Dukes revealed. Sanders wrote, quote, "Thank you, my brother, for keeping some things unspoken. We love it when they assume, laugh out loud. The insanity is better than Sanford and Son at times. Keep up the outstanding reporting and keeping it 100. Relationships in this business is everything. God bless, my brother," end quote. Couple of things to point out. Those of you may not know what the particulars are. You know I'll find out. Here it is. A reporter who happened to be a brother had a story that they were working on. When the story was about to come out, when the information was accumulated, the brother was taken off the story, according to people close to Deion Sanders. And in return, it was given to somebody who was white. Primetime Deion Sanders had a problem with that. He may not tell you. Most other folks may not know. I'm telling you. According to folks close to Deion Sanders, that's what happened. That's precisely what happened. A young brother that was working on a story had a story taken from him and given to somebody white. Deion Sanders took issue with that. And that's why he reacted the way that he reacted towards CBS. Now, in full disclosure, let me tell you what I thought. What I thought this was about was Deion Sanders, dating back to his days from 2002 to 2004 when he was working as an NFL analyst on CBS, because he was working alongside individuals, one of them being Dan Marino, that were getting paid more than him. And Deion Sanders was obviously somebody that ended up having a contractual dispute with CBS at the time because he wanted to be the highest paid player, or the highest paid analyst, my apologies. And so because of that, you know, obviously I'm here thinking it's CBS. That must be the reason why, because Deion Sanders was working on with him, and I think it was Boomer Esiason, and his mentality was, wait a minute now, I'm the one with 2 Super Bowl championships. I'm the one that's recognized as the greatest cornerback in the history of football. I'm the one that's a champion, and I'm working alongside people that weren't, and how are they getting paid more than me? I remember that story from years ago. But when I reached out, I found out that wasn't the case at all. Now, when you think about CBS and what Deion Sanders is talking about and what people close to him are talking about, let's get one thing out of the way right now, because it needs to be said. It's important for brothers to look out for one another. Now, that ain't always apropos, because let me tell you something right now. Some brothers, some sisters don't deserve to be looked out for. If you ain't getting the job done, you're a liability. And nobody needs to apologize for that. But if you are getting the job done, particularly in this day and age, in the kind of culture that we're living in, if you have an opportunity to look out for people, you look out for people. And that's not to say you don't look out for others. Look out for everybody. Look out for good people, white, black, and beyond. Latino, Asian American, doesn't matter. Look out for good people. But especially when you know there's a scarcity of individuals in the business and you have an opportunity to help them. If they are worthy and deserve it and you can help them, you should. Deion Sanders, for all of their struggles over the last 7 to 8 weeks of the season, after starting out 3-0 and having a rough patch the rest of the way, he's still one of the preeminent faces in college football. He has cachet. He matters to the University of Colorado. Whether you like it or not, he matters to college football. And so because of that, if you see a situation where you have an opportunity to help out a brother where they find themselves in a precarious situation and their network bosses confiscating stories from them, if indeed that is the case, then somebody like Deion Sanders is going to speak up. Now, let me tell you something real quick. I've known Deion Sanders for 20 years. He is a friend and a brother. And the one thing that I know about him, he will not hesitate to speak up for the brothers. He won't hesitate to speak up for most people he believes is in the right, whose hearts are in the right place. But especially young brothers. This is what I meant when I told y'all he never had an aspiration to coach in the National Football League compared to him coaching in college. Because Deion Sanders has been working with the youth of America for decades. He's always wanted to be somebody that was in a position of influence when it came to young minds, turning boys into men. That's a very, very big thing to him. And so for him, the college football was always more attractive than the National Football League. That's who he is. Whether you like him or not, he's a stand-up guy. He believes himself to be a stand-up guy. That doesn't mean he doesn't rub people the wrong way from time to time. It doesn't mean that there aren't criticisms out there for him. But he's the kind of cat that will challenge you in a character contest any day of the week. That's how he's built. That's what he's made of. And that's why when I heard this story about some young brother having a story confiscated from him in regards to primetime Deion Sanders and his program and potentially his family, and it was given to his white contemporary, I understood why Deion reacted the way that he did. And keep in mind, this is why I'm not going to crucify him, because even though he's my friend and my brother, if he's wrong, he'll tell you. I'll be the first to tell him. But here's where I'm going to defend him. He looked the reporter dead in the face, in front of everybody, and said, this is not about you. I got nothing but love and respect for you. You did nothing. This has nothing to do with you. It's about the people you work for. They know what they did. If he had just dismissed the reporter and acted that way, I'd have said, yo, man, that's jacked up. Why the hell would you do that? Come on, bro, you better than that. That's what I would have said to him. But because he handled it the way that he did, he articulated his position in front of everybody to let that reporter know so he didn't cause him any embarrassment. This is not about you. I'm not dismissing you. You did nothing wrong. This is about your employer. They know what they did to me. They know what they did involving a situation I was involved with. There's absolutely nothing wrong with how Deion Sanders handled that particular situation. That's my take on it. Do with it what you will. Now let me get to a subject that's near and dear to my heart because it potentially might be involving my Pittsburgh Steelers. It's regarding wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Aiyuk. You know the 49ers, the reigning NFC champions. Got to get to some NFL headlines involving him because I got to start off there. He's still trying to work out a long-term deal, the 49ers that is, with Brandon Aiyuk. Last month, Aiyuk demanded a trade from the defending NFC champions, but the team isn't willing to part ways with their star wide receiver. However, sources tell ESPN the Niners have agreed to the parameters of a trade that would send Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers if they can't get a deal done with him. Aiyuk is coming off his best season where he caught 75 passes for the Niners for more than 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. First things first, am I allowed to pray? Am I allowed to pray? Dear Father, please, let Kyle Shanahan and Lynch and those boys, and John Lynch and those boys mess this up. Let the man get to the Steelers, please. Because, damn it, we need him. Okay, I'm a Steelers fan. I like Pickens a lot. I like Freiermuth a lot. Najee Harris, you know I got love for you, my brother. But I need another receiver, okay? I need another receiver. And Brandon Aiyuk is that dude. Yardage after catches, catching in between the seams, breaking tackles, got breakaway speed, exceptional route runner, 1,300-plus yard receiver, not to mention 17.9 yards per reception. Second in the league to who? George Pickens of the Steelers. I love this. We need this. Steelers went out and improved their offensive line. They went out and they got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Anything is an upgrade for the quarterback situation they had last year. And now you got a chance to get Aiyuk. Yes, that's what the Steelers need. I'm all for it. So 49ers, go ahead and mess that up. Because you don't keep Brandon Aiyuk, you ain't going back to the Super Bowl. Detroit might get you. Philadelphia Eagles might get you. Saquon Barkley joining A.J. Brown. Joining Devontae Smith, joining Goddard, joining Jalen Hurts, excuse me? Yeah. Go ahead and mess that up if you want to, San Francisco Steelers. Get that brother. Get that brother. He's worth it. He's worth it. Coming up, a music artist extraordinaire had the audacity, the unmitigated goal to say there was somebody out there that's better than the late, great Michael Jackson. I mean, that's blasphemous. That's blasphemous. Can't wait to talk to him about that. Can't wait for y'all to see who I'm talking about, okay? That plus the WNBA. Got to get into that first. Second half of the season is here. The Olympics are over. What's the biggest storyline? What's the biggest thing to watch out for with the WNBA? I'll tell you about that and more in a minute. You're watching the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Back with more in a minute. Okay, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for Stephen A's Sports Picks. Everybody knows that I live and breathe sports, but that's not enough. I need to be in the middle of all the action, okay? All of it. And how do I do that exactly? I use PrizePicks, of course, the largest fantasy sports platform in all the land with over 3 million members. It's incredibly easy to play. It takes only 60 seconds to make your picks, you know. You just choose 2, 3, or even up to 6 of your favorite players and pick more or less on their projected stats for the game. That's quicker than it takes for Caitlin Clark to spot up and hit a long-range 3, you know. And get this, sign up with code SAS and PrizePicks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 plus lineup. You don't need to win your lineup to win or receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. All you have to do is play a $5 lineup on PrizePicks and you'll get $50 instantly. So now, let's look at my winning picks. Today, I'm excited because I'll be selecting picks for the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. First up, Israel Adesanya. That's a bad brother right there. More or less than a 0.5 significant strikes. Excuse me. He gonna get that in the first round. He gonna get that in the first round. This brother been talking smack about him, talking about I'm a real African. You really ain't. Disrespecting him with his nonsense. I think Adesanya is gonna be more ready for this fight than he's ever been in his career. This brother's tough now, make no mistake about it, the places, but in the end, what it comes down to is Adesanya is no joke. I'm going with more. More than a half strike for crying out loud. More or less, Dan Hooker, then 45 and a half significant strikes. Damn, that sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot. You're talking about striking, particularly in the UFC. You're talking about elbow shots. You're talking about punches to the face. 45 and a half, I think that's a lot. You connect on 45 and a half significant strikes, guess what? Chances are the fight's going to be over before that. I can't see that happening. I think that's a bit too much. I'm going to go with less on this one. Okay, let's go with the next one. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, more or less than 20 and a half significant strikes. Now, I've seen Rozenstruik before. I've seen him lose. I've seen him win. He's going to throw some blows now, and I think that's definitely going to be the case here. We're going to go with more. So let's look and recap all of my picks here. Adesanya, more. Hooker, less. Rozenstruik, more. Those are my picks. I'm usually right about these things. Pay attention. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. The WNBA is back in action, and the road to the championship will be through Asia Wilson and the two-time reigning defending WNBA champion Las Vegas Aces. But the top topic of conversation will be the Rookie of the Year race between Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark and the Chicago Sky's Angel Reese. According to ESPN's Kevin Pelton, Alexa Filippo, and Michael Vopel, who ranked the top 25 players in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark is ranked number 15, and Angel Reese is ranked number 19. Clark leads all rookies in scoring and is 13th overall. She also leads the league in assists and turnovers. Let's not forget the fact that Angel Reese is a walking double-double. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the fact that Team USA, yes, you walked home with the gold medal. Congratulations to you. Congratulations on the way you performed representing our country. But having said all of that, I'm going to reiterate something that I've said already. You know Caitlin Clark should have been on that team. You know how much popularity that would have garnered, right? You know that the Indiana Fever done put out a bunch of notes about attendance records being broken and all of this other stuff because of that young lady. You know Angel Reese is a walking double-double, and she's an Energizer Bunny, and her and Caitlin Clark feeding off of one another to represent USA would have made Team USA Women's a box office attraction. So that is an opportunity that y'all missed out. To get your 8th straight gold medal, congratulations to you. The girl Gabby Williams almost took you out, but neither here nor there. Bottom line is you won and you deserve props for it. Caitlin Clark will undoubtedly be on the team in 2028, as well as Angel Reese, and we can go from there. The storyline is going to be Rookie of the Year because that's what this comes down to. And right now, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are neck and neck. Yeah, Caitlin Clark is 13th in the league in scoring. She's the league leader in assists. She also leads the league in turnovers, too, and we get that part. But she's leading the league in assists as a rookie. She's a top 13 scorer in the league as a rookie. Angel Reese is a walking double-double. They got an opportunity to make the playoffs as well. So we got to look at all of that. And I think the thing that can't go unnoticed is the fact that these two young ladies are box office draws. And I'm going to reiterate a point because I'm sick and tired of it being ignored. We live in a world where we want to act like we get to ignore the importance of marketing. Marketing is what makes the world go round. If you know how to market if you know how to spend, if you know how to promote, it generates revenue. When revenue is generating, more things happen. Better facilities, better travel arrangements, better lodging. Not to mention better opportunities for you as individuals down the line. You know why? Because if you're generating money, what gravitates folks to you? It's usually money. In the world of business, of course. You know how to make money. You know how to generate revenue. People want to do business with you because they see an opportunity for themselves. It would build the WNBA. It would build Team USA's cachet. It would build women's basketball across the globe. And then you won't have to worry about watching the WNBA negotiate $77 billion deals while you're struggling to reach $300 million. Now, you don't have to get $77 billion, but damn, couldn't you have got one, maybe two or three? Didn't happen, in large part because of marketing. Talent's there. Personalities are there. Culture is there. Certainly enough women out there to support your sport, as well as the men, because men be showing up to the games too. Hell, I was at the WNBA Finals last year. I was there courtside. Took my daughter to her first basketball game. Courtside. Watching A'ja Wilson do her thing against Breonna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. And we gonna go again. But that's me. There's a whole bunch of people out there to attract to your sport. Let's not forget the importance of that. And oh, by the way, speaking of those finals, I fully expect the Las Vegas Aces to be there. I don't care about their struggles during the regular season. These are the reigning two-time defending WNBA champions. Last time I checked, A'ja Wilson, the best player in the world, she did. Last time I checked, Kelsey Plum, she did. And last time I checked, Gray, the point guard, she did. I'm sorry. I ain't picking anybody to beat the Las Vegas Aces. And I'm New York all day, every day. I want New York to win. And damn it, the Liberty, I hope they do their thing. I ain't ignoring the Connecticut Sun either, but I'm a New Yorker, damn it. I'm always rooting for New York. But the Las Vegas Aces know how to win. They know what it takes to win. And A'ja Wilson, she's one of one. Make no mistake about it. Do not sleep on that young lady. She is the best in the world in women's basketball. And she coming because she see people coming for her. And she ain't the type to bow down from that. Are we clear on that? I sincerely hope we are. Coming up, an R&B superstar ran up on me at dinner the other night near South Beach, actually in South Beach, and had the nerve, the unmitigated goal, to tell me that one artist is better than the late, great Michael Jackson. Yes, he said that. He said that. You know I got to rap to him about that. By the way, that wasn't the only goat he attacked. He actually attacked two goats in the same damn conversation. Blasphemy! But I'm going to listen anyway, because the brother is great. That conversation with Stephen A. and the one and only Tank up next, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Do not touch either dial. You hear me? I'm sure that you all know that the NFL season is just around the corner. And if you need to be in the middle of that action like I do, don't worry, because PrizePicks has got you covered. You see, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports app that can help you cash in on every pass, catch, and sack. All you do is select 2, 3, or even up to 6 of your favorite players and then pick more or less on their projected stats for the game. What's even better, PrizePicks has something for every sports fan. Choose from the WNBA, MLB, MMA, and everything in between. I make my picks in less than 60 seconds and submit early. Then I sit back and watch, and get this. Sign up with code SAS and PrizePicks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 plus lineup. You don't need to win your lineup to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. All you have to do is play a $5 lineup on PrizePicks, and you'll get $50 instantly. Pick more, pick less. It's really, really that easy. It pays to get paid on Cash App. Some people think paying overdraft fees is unavoidable. When you deposit your paycheck on Cash App, you can get up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. Having a little cushion to give you peace of mind at no extra cost is a very beautiful thing. If you could deposit your paycheck on Cash App and get up to $50 in overdraft coverage at no cost, would you? I'm talking about up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. A little peace of mind in case of oversight at no extra cost. Now that's something to think about. Stop sitting on the bench with people who can't play and get into the game with Cash App. So once again, getting paid on Cash App isn't just convenient. Cash App has got you covered. It pays to get paid on Cash App. That's money. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store today. My guest is a Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, record producer, and one of R&B's music top crooners, known for hits like I Deserve, Please Don't Go, and When We. I ran into him a few days ago, and the blasphemy that came out of this man's mouth is the reason that I had to bring him on this show today. I'm talking about the man himself, the one and only Tank is in the house. What's up, Big Time? How you doing, man?
Did you say blasphemy?
That's the word that came to my mind, Tank. Listen, let me give the audience the background, bro. So I'm in Miami a few days ago. I'm hanging out with my crew at Prime 112. We leave the restaurant. I see my man there in the corner, huddled in the corner, eating with his boys and stuff, eating dinner. And for some reason, we got into it. And tell the audience what you said that almost gave me a heart attack right in the restaurant. Tell them, Tank. Tell them.
I mean, what I said was, I think that if we're saying numbers don't lie, me and my brother Breon said that LeBron is the GOAT. But that's all I said.
Right, LeBron, you didn't say something. What did you say about Chris Brown compared to Michael Jackson?
And now we'll move on to that.
Go ahead.
Chris Brown is, in fact, better than Michael Jackson.
What? Do you understand what you're saying? Tank, do you understand what you're saying, my man? I mean, you're admired, you're revered, you're associated with music, my brother. Everybody loves and respects you. We know that Chris Brown is out of this world. I think he's the greatest entertainer on the planet right now, personally. I think he's that. Chris Brown is special, but better than Michael Jackson, 13-time Grammy Award winner. Michael Jackson, the Thriller, the highest selling album of all time. That Michael Jackson.
Things evolve, my brother. Things evolve. There was, if we're equating it to sports as we love to do, if there was Magic Johnson, now there is LeBron James. That is the ultimate evolution of a man who can play all five positions and fill up that stat sheet honestly, organically, right? And now as we talk about Chris Brown, we're talking about the evolution of Michael Jackson, the evolution of Usher, the evolution of me, the evolution of Genuine. That is what this kid is, a singer, songwriter, producer, performer who orchestrates it all, from video to stage to songs to fashion. He's the evolution.
You brought up fashion? We're not going there. I'm not going to get into the fashion part. I'm not debating that. I'm certainly not going to sit there. I mean, Michael Jackson came out sometime looking like Captain Crunch. I'm not going to sit up there and say, Michael Jackson and fashion. I'm not going to do that. And I love Michael Jackson, God rest his soul, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying, when we talk about the ability to perform, I'll give you this. As great, as phenomenal as Michael Jackson was as a dancer, I can't say that I've ever seen anybody that dances better than Chris Brown. I'll give you that.
Let's check the list.
Let's do it.
Just go down the list.
Let's go down the list. Go ahead.
Who's the better singer?
I would say Michael Jackson.
Don't you do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Why would I say that Chris Brown's a better singer than Michael Jackson?
Don't hold
than
on.
Michael Jackson?
The 70s. Don't hold on to that. Don't hold on to that. Who's the better songwriter?
Michael Jackson. Wait, how
Don't
could
you do this, Steven?
Who are you talking about?
Don't do it.
Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson is not better than Chris Brown as a songwriter?
Most of Michael Jackson's hits were not produced or written by him.
Well, see, you know that level of expertise. I can't challenge. I'm talking about what I listen to, man. I ain't getting all technical like that, Tank. I didn't know that.
Okay, now
I didn't know that.
Let's go here. Who's the better dancer?
Chris Brown. I can't say that. I can never say somebody a better dancer than Chris Brown. That brother's sensational, without question.
What I want you to do is I have homework for you. I want you to go look at credits of songwriters and of these songs that are hits for both artists.
Okay.
Some of the biggest songs in the world.
Okay.
And see whose names you find. Chris Brown is not just putting his name on records because he's Chris Brown. He's putting his names on records because he's writing and producing those records.
Okay, see, you get slick there. See, that ain't what you said to me when we were there that night. When we were hanging out at the prom, that ain't what you said. We were talking about the music the average fan hears, the entertainment they provide, singing and dancing. That's what we were talking about. You didn't tell me to look up no credits that day.
I am behind the veil, my brother.
You are. I know that.
I get to see things that most people don't get to see.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get to understand nuance.
Okay.
Now, people who are just going straight off entertainment, yes, they had to beat a jacket. Yes, they had the thrill. It was a movement. It is still a movement to this day. Michael Jackson is forever. Let me just say that. Okay, there's no Michael Jackson disrespect or hate ever.
Right.
Michael Jackson is forever because Michael Jackson is the blueprint by which every artist is trying to aspire to be. He is the blueprint, the quintessential example of everything you want to be as an artist.
Okay.
And then there comes someone who gets it right and takes it to another level.
But that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. When you say Chris Brown has taken it to another level, okay, I'm thinking about Thriller. I'm thinking about Pretty Young Thing. I'm thinking about You Rock My World. I'm thinking about You Remember the Time. I'm thinking about all of these Michael Jackson great songs. I ain't even talking about the Jackson 5, okay, when he was a kid. I'm talking about thereafter, when the solo career. I'm like, when you say take it to another level, I respect the hell out of Chris Brown. He's phenomenal. But how did he take it to another level from that level I just described about Michael Jackson?
Think about this. Michael Jackson went from child star to adult star.
Okay.
He accumulated all of those fans in a span of 20-something years. Like, they got to grow with him.
Okay.
Chris Brown started at 15.
Yeah.
At 15. And has accumulated the same worldwide response. And it was crazy. We're not even living in the age of superstars anymore. You know why? Because everything is reality. Everything is something you can see every day. You can go on Chris Brown's page and you can see him interacting. You can see him talking and dancing and having a good time. You could never see that with Michael Jackson. You can never see that with Whitney Houston. You can never see that with our old superstars, and that gave them the advantage of being superstars. That gave them the advantage that when they showed up, the frenzy was out of control because you never knew if you were going to see them again. We live in an age where superstars are obsolete because we see everything that they do. We're able to judge everything that they do. We're able to critique them going to the bathroom or eating their food at their favorite restaurant. In a land where superstars are obsolete, Chris Brown is a superstar doing arenas and stadiums all around the world. He is one of one. And listen,
I agree with that. He's the greatest. Listen, I love Bruno Mars. I didn't pay any attention to Bruno Mars until I saw Bruno Mars perform at the Super Bowl, by himself. It was before he did it with Beyonce and Coldplay. It was the one before that when Denver got annihilated by the Seattle Seahawks and Bruno Mars, if I remember, and Bruno Mars put on the show. But when I saw Chris Brown perform, he's the best in the world right now. The best in the world, one of one. I'm just challenging the next level. Like, I didn't know there was a next level after Michael Jackson. But you do make a good point. We didn't see Michael Jackson. We see everything about Chris Brown. So do you believe, because I'm sure as much of a superstar as Chris Brown is, you would never say that Chris Brown's popularity equates to what Michael Jackson's was. You wouldn't say that, would you? Oh, come on, Tank. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Here's the thing. I have to give the edge to Michael Jackson in that regard because Michael didn't come up in social media era. So it wasn't a push of one button that could connect you to the entire world.
Okay.
Michael had to connect to the entire world 100% organically, the old school way, door to door. And Brown has the advantage of having social media where he can push a button and he's in 100, 200 million homes at the drop of a dime, right? So as Michael Jackson is absolutely world renowned, and everywhere you go, everybody knows Michael Jackson for sure. I can't debate that. But everywhere you go, everybody knows Chris Brown too.
Let me ask you this question in all seriousness, because I'm a Michael Jackson guy, but I'm a Chris Brown guy too, because the brother's phenomenal. Let me ask you this. Is there something that you think Chris Brown could do to be more popular? Is there something that he's not doing? I mean, of all the marvelous things that you've highlighted he's already done, is there anything that he's avoided or hasn't done yet, in your estimation?
I don't think that there's a thing of more popular when you're doing stadiums all around the world. In terms of accomplishments, if you're asking me personally what I would like to see him do,
Okay.
I would love for Chris Brown to star in his own blockbuster movie. I believe Chris Brown, the actor, is the final piece in this entire thing that's just.
You know, I don't dismiss that.
phenomenal.
I don't dismiss that. I've seen him in a couple of movies. He's got to. I'm talking about as an actor, because we know as a musician what he is. But as an actor, yeah, I believe in Chris Brown. I like that. I like that. You know what? Go ahead.
Got it. And if he does that, we cancel Christmas.
Cancel
Christmas. Chris Brown in a blockbuster, Fast and
It's a wrap.
Furious, whatever
It's
it
a
is,
wrap.
whatever you want to put. You put Chris Brown as the focal point, the headline, the star of that movie.
Okay. Let me transition, because now let me get to my wheelhouse. Like you said, you're behind the veil. Okay, so I got that. I mean, I still wonder about Brandon. I still wonder, but it's all right. I got it. Chris Brown, I mean, the brother's a bad brother. Make no mistake about it. Let me ask you this. We also argued about LeBron versus Michael Jordan. Now, I don't want to have to teach you over the digital airways of YouTube. I really don't, because I got love for you, bro. I don't feel like having to do this, but you know, since your wheelhouse is the music thing, my wheelhouse is the basketball thing. LeBron is your GOAT. Other than the argument of longevity, what you got?
Longevity is not just in other than longevity. Longevity is part of the conversation. There are many people who have done things for a long time. They've arrived, they've learned, they've grown, they've peaked, and then they've descended. We are watching a man who arrived, learned, grew, and his ascension has stayed at a level that we've never seen before. We have not seen a descension from LeBron James.
I agree with that, but even at his greatest, he wasn't the greatness of Michael Jordan as his greatness. You better watch your mouth right now, Tank. You better stop it.
Let me help you with that.
You please do. Please try.
There comes a time when an athlete is so far ahead of his time and so much better than everyone else that we just have to grade him differently, right? And so Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan came around, was the only Michael Jordan.
That's right.
He was the only man,
That's right.
the only human capable of
Say
doing
it again. That's
what
right.
he was doing.
That's right.
Right? And
yes.
We can go down the list of people who were like that, from Floyd Mayweather to Roy Jones to Tiger Woods. They were so far ahead in their space. But what happened is, as they are the blueprint, like I say about Michael Jackson, everyone started learning from that blueprint, and everyone started evolving from that blueprint. So as Michael Jordan was a monster among men, LeBron James is a monster among monsters. There's more than Godzilla.
Oh my God.
There's more than King Kong. You understand what I'm saying?
Really?
Like, there's so many monsters.
Excuse me. I could make a legitimate argument. What's your definition of monsters? Because let me tell you something right now. I'm not talking about athleticism. I'm not talking about individual prowess. You can jump out of the gym. You've got lightning quick speed. I'm talking about overall your results. Do you realize that there's a legitimate argument? And I'm not saying, because there were times when I thought that LeBron James was the best player on the planet. But do you understand there have been times for the better part of LeBron James' career, there was always a debate about who was better. Whether it was Kobe, whether it was KD, whomever, there was always a debate. With Michael Jordan, there was no debate. None. Nine-time all-defensive player first team, 10-time scoring champion, 6 championships, unblemished in the NBA Finals, 6 Finals MVPs. That's what I'm talking about, Tank. You can't compete with that.
He was that much better
than
those people in that generation. He was the first. He is the blueprint. But now you have Steph, you have KD.
Yes.
You have James Harden.
Okay.
You have the Greek the Freak.
Yeah.
You have Anthony Davis. You have Embiid. You have Devin Booker.
Yeah.
You have Jason Tatum.
Uh-huh.
You have the Joker.
Yes.
The list goes on. These are monsters. And LeBron is shining above amongst these monsters who would go back in time and demolish the 80s and 90s.
LeBron?
All of them. Everybody I just named.
LeBron, are you ready for this? And I dare you to refute this. So, LeBron goes to Miami, learns how to win, and that LeBron James has elevated himself to another level. 4 championships, okay? We got that, all right? 5 of his 6 finals losses, but 4 championships. Give credit where credit is due. Here's what I'm saying to you. You've been around long enough to know what that Jordan era was like. You know a thing or two about the 80s as well. You know as well as I do how hardcore it was. The NBA was a different game. You couldn't last 20 years unless you were Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The physicality that was allowed would derail you. Michael Jordan was one of one in that era, even before the 90s arrived. And get this, my proclamation is that if LeBron was LeBron in that era, he wouldn't have got to a point where he ultimately became a champion, because they would have derailed him. Because what was his problem? It wasn't his physicality. It wasn't his abilities. It wasn't his greatness as a player. It was what was inside that chest of his until he lost the finals to Dallas, and then he became a man possessed in that NBA playoff series against Boston, which was the coming out party for him. Until then, he was a bit shy. 4th quarter against the Jason Terrys and the J.J. Bareas of the world, where his 6'9" self couldn't even post those brothers up in the 4th quarter. How about that following All-Star game when Carmelo Anthony and D-Wade and Kobe had to come and run in his face because he was scared to take a winning shot in a damn exhibition game? Don't get me started, Tank. They would have derailed him, and he wouldn't have got to the point where he learned how to be a champion. That is what I believe you're missing. I'll give you the last word.
Thank you, and I appreciate you giving me the last word. As you have, this is your show, wonderful show, might I add. I love what you do. Let me tell you something that you have to do that people never do when you throw people back in time. You have to give them the same mentality of those back in those times. So if you're saying the game was more physical, then LeBron would have learned the game more physical.
Okay.
If you're saying that LeBron would have had to fight differently against whoever those monsters were back then that you call, there was no monster that was 6'9", jumping out the gym, running a 4.4, that could see everything. There wasn't one. And so if you send LeBron James back in time and give him the mentality of those back in time, he's going to score 100. He's going to score 100 points.
Hold on, Tank. Everybody didn't have Jordan's mentality. And I get to say that, LeBron, you're so great that ultimately you would have run into the greatest. And that is who would have derailed you. Just like Jordan derailed Mark Price and Larry Nance and Greg Elo and Brad Daugherty and those boys. Just like Jordan derailed Karl Malone and Stockton. Just like he derailed Barkley with Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson. Just like he derailed Clyde Drexler and Porter and those boys in Portland. Just like he derailed Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and Reggie Miller. He would have derailed LeBron.
Can we say this?
Yes.
Can we say this?
Yes.
Can we say that Jordan has never been the underdog? Can we say that Jordan was his team was the Golden State Warriors of his generation? Can we say that? They were the number one team.
They earned that, though.
No,
they earned that.
I got what they earned.
Okay,
I got what they built.
earned that.
But were they that?
Yes.
LeBron James has had to go up against the Spurs.
Yes.
Dynasty.
Yes.
The Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Dynasty.
Yeah. Well, they weren't a dynasty then. I mean, they won the first title. They came back and lost it, and then they had to go and get KD to go up against LeBron and them. They weren't the dynasty at that time. They had a ring.
He went against a Mavs team that was destiny waiting.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Miami was the favorite in that series with D Wade and Bosh. All they had, they had Nowitzki. They had Nowitzki, okay, and they had Jason Kidd, an old Jason Kidd. They had Jason Terry. Come on, Tank. No, you can't do that. You cannot.
The Dallas Mavericks were they didn't have better players. They were a better team, and you know the difference.
All right. I got you. Look, man, I got to get on out of here, but I got to admit to you, you're impressive. I got to admit that, man. I got to admit it. I got to admit it. You know your sports. You know, you got your thing going on, man. Listen, man, what have you been doing with yourself before I let you get on out of here? Tell everybody what you've been doing with your music, with your podcast, everything. What's going on with you?
R&B Money Podcast, up and running. Please subscribe, man. You know, we followed in the footsteps of Brother Stephen A., man, and building platforms that serve the thing that we do, man, and that's just R&B music, man. So tune into that. Me and my brother Jay Valentine, the R&B Money label, me, Jay Valentine, Lulu. We signing artists, producers, songwriters, all the cool stuff. Get involved. And if people are looking to check me out, me and my brothers Tyrese and Genuine, TGT is back on the road.
Wow.
The R&B Forever Tour with us, our heroes, BBD, Belle Biv DeVoe, Silk, and other people, Tevin Campbell, that'll be joining us as well. Look for us at an arena near you. Man, taking my kids to school, man, and getting a little workout in between, man.
Well, a little workout. I mean, damn, you'll almost look as big as Shannon Sharp when I saw you. I mean, damn, you mean a little workout? You got to get out of here with that. Yo, listen, I got to tell you this, because I know you know, like you said, Belle Biv DeVoe. I'm assuming you know them pretty well. You know, I got to get my man Michael Bivens on here. I owe him one. I got to apologize to him. I was supposed to bring him on for the finals because he swears he's a basketball encyclopedia, the brother Noah. And I know he got game. He could play and he loves his Boston Celtics. So I promised him I was going to come on, but then ABC and everything got in the way and all of that stuff. I couldn't do it. So I'm going to get him on next season. Plus, I got to bring him on the podcast. The brother knows his basketball. Does he know more basketball than you? How about that question?
Well, I'll tell you like this. I mean, he's definitely been around it longer. And back in his day, you know, all of those celebrity games and everything that everybody would try to play in, he was the MVP of all of those.
Wow. So it was like that.
He's a real guy. Now
me, yeah, okay.
You know, I've scored 50 in a celebrity game. You know, I had my first
you
jump
dropped
in
50
8th grade. You know,
you dropped 50.
I'm a world class athlete, Steve. I don't know if you know this.
I don't know,
man.
but I ain't gonna doubt it. Only thing I'm doubting you now is the LeBron MJ argument, and to a significantly lesser degree, the Michael Chris Brown. But see, I gotta be careful about what I'm saying about Chris Brown because he's my favorite. I think the man's the greatest entertainer in the world. He's phenomenal. It's just that compared to Michael Jackson, I don't compare anybody to Michael Jackson. Damn it, I barely compare him to Prince.
as we dismount this, here's what I will say in all fairness, because I'm biased when it comes to Chris Brown, because that's my little brother, right? I will say this: Chris Brown is, to say it correctly, Chris Brown is this generation's Michael Jackson, to say it correctly.
We can agree there.
And,
we can agree there.
And the comparison thing, I mean, it's gonna go back and forth. Everybody has good points on either side, but Michael was who he was for his time, and he birthed this generation. He birthed Chris Brown. And Chris Brown is, in fact, nobody's even close to what Chris Brown is for this generation.
I'm going to say this about Chris Brown. I know he had some issues in the past, whatever those things are. He's the greatest entertainer in the world right now. He's a special talent. And I think the world of entertainment needs to see more of him. Yeah. Because he's that brilliant, he's that special, and I root for him all the time.
Thank you, brother.
Tank, man, I appreciate you, man. Love you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I got to admit, man, it was kind of impressive. It's kind of impressive.
Listen, I'm around whenever you need me, brother. I'm around.
Definitely. You and the crew. Absolutely. Anything with what y'all doing, I want the world to know about it. So thanks so much, man. We'll talk soon, all right?
All right, doctor.
Take it easy. The one and only Tank in the house right here in the Stephen A. Smith Show. My thanks to the great Tank himself for stopping by. You can catch his R&B Money podcast on YouTube and on tour at a city near you. Make sure you check it out. That's it for the Stephen A. Smith Show. I got to get on out of here for the day. Thank y'all for joining me. That was a lot of fun. I really, really like talking to him. Brother knows his basketball. He shot me with that one. You know, in basketball, I mean, he's breaking stuff down. I might have to hire him as a basketball analyst before all is said and done. I mean, what the hell is that about? Who knows? Until next time, everybody, peace and love.